camera and a computer, camera, computer. Okay, well, we'll give it a shot. Oh, fuck. Okay. And I think we're about ready to fire up here. Stream preview. Looks like we're maybe going. Yeah. Looks like there we are. Alright, guys. Welcome back to the channel. High Desert Music Channel. Good Sunday morning to you. Thought I was going to record this and put it up. As it turns out, I'm just going to do it live. Didn't quite get around to getting that one recorded. Didn't quite get around to filming that episode. So, Sunday morning, life and music. No studio audience today. We keep those guys out on Sunday. There's no tacos, and so they don't show up. You know, I mean, they're fair weather people. What are you going to say? No tacos, no crowd. So anyway, happy Sunday morning. Welcome to the show. This is life and music. Generally, these are going to be recorded, but today it's live. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you guys want them live. Nobody watched the last one. Nobody watched the last one, so I don't expect anybody to watch this one. So anyway, this episode of Life and Music is going to be kind of based around stuff that I remember. You know, what do I remember when I start playing music, and what have you forgotten about stuff? Things that had slipped your mind completely. You know, stuff that you totally forgot that you used to do, that you used to find interesting, and then you play a tune and, oh wow, I remember that. I hadn't thought about that in a long time. So I know I'm trying to keep these, you know, we're going to try to keep these around 10-15 minutes. This one, I don't know, being live, it might go a lot longer. A lot, who knows. But what do I remember when I start playing specific tunes? You know, like that tune "Dead or Alive." You guys maybe have watched me play that in one of the crappy covers. That was a bass cover. It was pretty crappy. That tune, though, that specific song, you know, I hadn't thought about it for a long time. I was never like a huge Bon Jovi kind of guy. You know, I knew obviously Bon Jovi was there. I didn't. I wasn't a huge fan of Bon Jovi, you know, back in the 80s. However, I started playing that tune, and I, you know, I couldn't help but think about my sister. My sister's a few years older than me, and she loved that hair metal shit, man. Like, that was her thing. She was into that stuff, man. And I told you guys one time on one of these other shows, you know, she and some other girl that I just absolutely can't remember who it was. Anyhow, called up the local radio station, you know, the local AM radio station, won some sort of contest, and the prize for the contest was albums, actual 33s. No, if you're old enough to know what a 33 is, cool. If based on the demographics of these videos, you do. If you don't, well, I'm not taking the time to explain it here. Anyhow, and it was you know, a pressed record of the show, like commercials and all. But anyway, you know, that was one of the tunes that was in there, and anyway, it caused me to remember. I don't know how old I was, 12, 13, probably something like that, maybe. It had to have been 88, 89, so yeah, 12, 13. And I went to the county fair in Atchison County, Kansas. Effingham, Kansas is the name of the town. If you know where that is, boy howdy, you're you're a redneck like me. Good God, man. Anyhow, Atchison County, yeah, good times. My family's from around that way. Anyhow, went to the Atchison County Fair and won one of the completely rigged county fair games. somehow, some way or another. And for whatever reason, Christ, if I could remember why, it seemed like the proper thing to do at the time, to get this giant yellow, I don't know, you might want to call it a tapestry, except it was like satin, like the 80s satin jackets kind of thing, not even satin, like I can't think of the words I'm trying to, like the nylon, the shiny, slick nylon jacket. But anyway, it was this big tapestry, and it was Slippery When Wet from that album, and I gave it to my sister. And so I play that tune, and I think about it. And it's just weird how I hadn't thought about that thing, that big yellow thing, in forever. But I can picture it in my mind now, and she actually put it up in her bedroom for a while once. Yeah. Anyway, that's that's one of those things. I just kind of remembered it from that specific song. And a couple of the other ones I like to play "Stand By Me" on the guitar and the bass. That tune really makes me think about my daddy. My daddy passed a long time ago now, a couple decades. But boy howdy, he loved that movie. He thought that was the greatest movie. It depicted his youth pretty well, and he was a huge fan of that movie. And so playing "Stand By Me" kind of makes me think of Daddy. And as silly as it may sound to some of you folks, Dancing Queen, ABBA, the ABBA tune Dancing Queen makes me think of Daddy. Don't get the wrong idea from that. I will tell you why. The old man had a 1970 Chevrolet pickup, and it had an 8-track player in it. And one of the 8-tracks, there's a bunch of ABBA 8-tracks in there. So anyway, I used to roll around in that pickup. I learned to drive that thing. I watched my boy have a bad day in it once when he was like a year and a half old. It was a good old pickup. Anyway, had an 8-track player in it, and used to listen to Dancing Queen all the time, man. And ABBA 8-tracks in general. Arrival, the one that had them in a little pod. I remember that being in there. But yeah, you think about that kind of stuff, and you start playing these tunes, and that's why I chose Dancing Queen, because I remember listening to it on 8-track, and then you find out, it's a pretty cool tune, man. It's bouncy, it's fun. It was kind of hard to learn and keep up with, but it gets your fingers nimble, and yeah, it's cool. "Stand By Me" is just a cool tune. It also moves around a little bit, and gets good practice in one finger, one fret, and using all 4 of your fingers and dancing up and down a fretboard. That's where this all ties in, Dead or Alive, it kind of does do that, it changes in the end. It's the same thing, 2 different versions of basically of the same thing, with a couple notes changed, and it's, it makes you think and count, kind of is what I picked up from that one, how to count through songs, and keep track of where I am in the tune, and which part's coming next. So, the last one, where are we at? Yeah, we're about 10 minutes. Boy howdy, all kinds of viewers today. Just coming out of the woodwork, man. So anyway, sorry, I got the computer over here on my left today instead of right in front of me, so that's what I'm looking at over there. I'll talk about that for a minute. Anyways, one of the last tunes that I had, the last song that I had on my list, at least to specifically cover for, I don't know, whatever kind of reason. I guess for a life reason, for one of those reasons that learn a life lesson from, learn something about the way the world operates, if that makes sense to you. The last tune I had on my list was "Don't Close Your Eyes," Keith Whitley. It's a great song. Why? What does that make you think of? What are you possibly talking about? I was way too young in the 7th grade, 6th grade, to understand what it really meant. I probably didn't grasp onto that one for obviously several more years. But "Don't Close Your Eyes." You know what? The life lesson that I pulled out of that one was, and it took a long time. It's one I gradually learned and would continue to think about when I heard the song over the years, and now have a complete, full, total grasp of. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever you want to choose. Anyway, I remember that tune, and I remember Keith Whitley specifically, and thinking, man, here's a dude who's all over the radio, all over, at the time, country music television, TNN, the Nashville network was going off, man, and he was all over it. He was on all the shows, Crook and Chase, and whatever, all the shows, and he was huge. Married to Lori Morgan, who in the 80s, if you remember, was just hot like a sunburn, man, incredible, and could sing and play, and again was a huge country star. And he drank himself to death. And at 12, 13 years old, it's like, wait, I don't get it. I don't understand it. What do you mean? What? It just absolutely made no sense to me. And that's what I mean by learning that lesson over time, over the course of decades and life. Okay. And that's why I say, unfortunately, maybe I do have that one under control. Like, I get it. Okay, now I understand how you can have the world, and it seems kind of shitty, and how one can spend a life swimming in depression and anxiety and fear and all kinds of crazy feelings that you try to hide and you try to fight through. I get it. I totally get it. But that's not going to make me stop playing these songs. It's not going to make me stop playing music. Do I miss my daddy? Of course. Absolutely. I miss my daddy like crazy. Every day I think of at least a half a dozen questions I could ask the old man, and he'd have a better answer than I can come up with. But I'm not going to stop playing the songs that make me think of him. I don't talk to and I don't see my sister or any other members of my family nearly enough. But that's not going to make me stop playing the tunes that make me think about them. I have my own issues with being okay if I didn't wake up tomorrow. And, hey, man, so be it. That's the way the world operates. But that's not going to make me stop playing the tunes that kind of bring some of those things to light, and the shitty parts of life. I'm not going to stop playing those. Those are like, and those songs that hurt. The song Hurt, I really like playing that song. And, we've all heard it. It's all pretty much about how shitty it can be and some of the stuff you got to do to get through. Well, you think you got to do to get through. But that doesn't make you stop playing them. Yeah. It doesn't make you want to stop playing them. And, I could go on for hours, and we're hitting about 15 minutes. And I know I was going to try to keep these episodes short, and we lost the one viewer that we had. So, hey, who gives a damn anyway, right? Nobody's going to watch these. Another one that really comes to mind a lot for me too, songs that I remember, that cause me to remember stuff and think about things, and Prince. One of my cousins has been wrapped up in music his whole life, man. And at one point, old boy had a caboose in his in his yard. And all right, so now y'all know where I come from. Anyhow, I had me a cousin, and he had a caboose in a yard, and that was his studio, man, and I thought that was fucking cool. Like, holy cow, that's awesome, man. Look at that. And I didn't play music then. I just thought that was cool. Like, wow. And I mean, it didn't really dawn on me at the time how much money and effort and time and stuff he had in that caboose. And now I see all this stuff stuffed into my room, all these things, packing my room, because I basically live in a bedroom, and all the stuff, all the music equipment I've got stuffed in here. But Prince makes me think of that guy all the time. He was a huge Prince fan, and at the time I didn't quite get it. I mean, I thought the stuff was okay, but I wasn't into that kind of music, again, at 10, 11 years old. And, Prince makes me think of him. He whether or not I realized it, I'm sure that had some impact on my world in the music, just being around him all the time, playing music and the different stuff that they got into. But yeah, so anyways, it's 16. This is kind of what I had in mind for these episodes, about 15, 16 minutes. So happy Sunday morning. Thanks for checking us out. I will say, the change in studio setup, let me talk about that right quick. The change in studio setup is just because I've been trying to work on this MIDI and have made huge strides. Finally got the outputs correct. I can hear it in headphones. I can hear it through my monitor. I still cannot make music. I still am not really capable of making good music with it. Working on that, trying to fix that and make something better. I'll get there. I'm gonna jack around with it today and try to do some stuff. I'm gonna spend some time with it today and try to get better, and try to maybe start putting something out that you guys can hear. At least, even if it's not actual backing tracks with me playing guitar and bass against it, just try to get something put together that sounds, I think, okay, and see what you guys think. Let you guys hear it. So I'm gonna work on that today. This is life in music, so let's throw the life part in for a while. We're live, nobody's watching. Looks like one person checking us out. Thanks for watching, to whomever you are there on Rumble. I appreciate that. Happy Sunday to you, viewer. Fantastic viewer that you are. Thank you so much. It is life in music, so let's talk about life for a minute. Life is shitty right now. I don't know what else to say. I'm really beginning to doubt whether or not I should keep doing these videos, whether or not I should keep trying with this channel. I haven't gained a viewer, I haven't gained a subscriber on any of my platforms in a couple of weeks. I'm not getting anywhere. I watch the videos that other people put out, and they're far, far better than mine. And the reality is, I really would like to have a spot where people can come and say, hey man, this is just a guy learning how to play music, and I really want to learn how to play music too, and let me see what this guy's actually dealing with to try and get there and try and play it, and is he getting any better? I don't know if I'm offering that in the correct manner. I don't know that people even want that. I had made a pretty, what I thought to be substantial promise to myself that I would give this 2 solid years before I decided it was an abject failure. But I don't know that that's going to work. It seems like I'm in a position now where I probably I realistically probably need to go back to work on the road and managing giant construction sites and running job sites and running guys on job sites and building buildings, and leave this behind as a bad idea that came and went. God knows I've had a lot of them. But I don't want to do that. I really would like to figure out how to make my world revolve around helping other people gain some enjoyment from music like I have. At this point, it's kind of getting in the way. I've spent a lot of money on it and don't have really any coming in right now. Not nearly enough. And it seems to be hard to find something that will match in terms of, any of you guys have ever been in construction jobs, you know how they operate. And, the person on the other side of the desk can smile and tell you, yeah. We work 410s and we're out. The guys do. Management doesn't. It's not how that works. You know, you can sign a contract with somebody for 42 hours a week, and when you stop really wanting to offer them 6 days a week and 70 hours a week, they bitch and treat you like shit. You know. And yeah, your paychecks are great, and believe me, it's nice. You know, to collect a paycheck that's, you know, coming home with $3,500, $4,500 every couple of weeks. That's really cool. I don't want to give 100 hours of my week for that. And it's turning out to be awfully difficult to find something in the middle. You know, for Christ's sake, I've been going to work for 30 years. That's what I know how to do. I know how to go to work. I know how to get shit done. Tell me what you want. I'll make it happen. That's been my job for 30 years. And it turns out I'm fairly decent at it until you screw me over, and then I'm going to go somewhere else. And, you know, and I got no problems with that. I can't even get a job washing dishes, man. Getting turned down for washing dishes at this point. And it may be time for me to just bite the bullet and go back to the 70-hour-a-week hard hat, yellow vest job. And if I do that, that means the channel goes away. It means it stops. Now, given my viewership, I don't think that matters to anybody other than me. It's pretty obvious I'm wasting my time here. These videos aren't getting anywhere. Nobody's seeing them. You know, I got a whole bunch of videos on TikTok, and the average view is 3 seconds. You know, the only reason my average view times are anywhere near decent on YouTube is because I have 2 or 3 of my own accounts other than the one I post on, and I've forced my telephone and my tablets and stuff to watch the videos over and over again, or at least watch them once all the way through to try and up the view times and help myself in the algorithm. And, you know, I got a lot of videos on Rumble, and, you know, they don't, you know, they're getting 40 views, 50 views. So it doesn't seem like I'm actually able to help anybody. It doesn't actually seem like I'm being able to reach anywhere, and it's beginning to seem like the viewers just aren't coming. People aren't subscribing. And, you know, unfortunately, as somebody trying to be a creator and do things like this, you have to have people subscribe. You have to have people watch the videos, and I'm obviously not very good at it. And I'm not really making much headway. I have some ideas on how to make better videos. Like, I watch other people's videos, obviously. You know, other people's cover song videos and stuff like that, and they're so much better than mine. I mean, just incredibly miles better than mine. And I get that. I understand. It's mostly my bad playing. You know, it's mostly my lack of ability in playing a guitar. Because otherwise, who cares about the backdrop and all that stuff? That's, in my mind, part of what the channel's about, so that you guys can watch me get better, so that you can try to join in, get better with me, and show up on these live shows and talk about it with me. You know, jump in the chats. So, I don't know. You know, it's hard to say how much longer I'm going to keep this up. I'd really like for it to continue. I don't know if I can. I mean, a couple more instruments going to go vanish today and be sold, you know, just to keep afloat while I try to get stuff going. And it's extraordinarily disheartening, you know, quite honestly, to really just want to help somebody, people, you know. I'm one of that sort of guy. I live my life with the idea that I will never ever get to where I need to be or where I want to be in the world without helping other people get where they want to be and where they need to be. And I really thought maybe I could do that with this channel. I still would like to do that with this channel. It's costing me a lot right now in multiple things other than just directly in dollar bills. It's disheartening. Don't get me wrong. I mean, to go, 2 weeks and no new viewers, no nothing. Me continuing to put out videos and try to do things that maybe would catch an eye and be decent. I'm trying to learn a lot of stuff that I just have no idea how to do. So yeah, it's rough. It's but you know what? That's life in music, right? I mean, how many musicians have you heard their stories of? The one that the one that jumps to my mind is from Lars in the Metallica, the very first Metallica Behind the Music, man, the Loser's Lunch, bologna on hand. And I'm not quite there yet, but it's close. And I guess that happens to musicians, and that's the way it goes. But as disheartening as it may be, I suppose I will continue to do these videos in the hopes that they get better, and the hopes that maybe somebody comes along and watches. But that's the point of this. That's what these episodes are for. That's what life in music is about. It's about your life, and it's about music. And sometimes life is good, sometimes life isn't. And part of me, I guess, I kind of thought maybe this would work for me a little better. I got a couple new people on Rumble. How you doing? Thanks for watching. For you guys that came on Rumble, it's nice to see you. Thanks for coming by High Desert Music Channel, and you disappeared. There you go. Story of my existence on the internet. And yeah, such is the world. So I guess I'll give it up for today. Tomorrow night, remember, 9 o'clock Mountain Time. Tomorrow night, we'll get into the MIDI tomorrow night. We'll really start talking about that. I will probably obviously have a lot more time involved to have practiced with it, and maybe have a tune put together that actually sounds kind of decent or something. I'm going through a lot of stuff right now that I really haven't figured out. So that's tomorrow night. We'll really get into that. That's something different than life and music, and I want to keep these episodes to that. So anyway, guys, happy Sunday. I think it's a holiday this weekend, right? Fuck, I sent the studio audience home. They can't answer any damn questions. I think it's a holiday. I believe it's like Labor Day or some shit. I don't know. You know what? When you live alone with a dog and have no friends and no life, you forget that kind of shit. So yeah, I think it's a 3-day weekend for some reason. Labor Day more. It's got to be Labor Day, right? Labor Day's in the fall. So anyway, have a good one. Thanks for coming by and checking us out. High Desert Music Channel. Give us some likes. Give us subscribe. Share the channel. Share the show. Yeah, certainly. So some other idiot like me that wants to sit around and talk about how hard it can be learning how to play music, but how much you get from it, and the smiles and the memories and the good shit that it gives you. And that's what the channel's about. So for you guys on Rumble that are watching now, thank you so much for coming to check us out. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Mountain Time, we'll be on again, live show again. And happy Sunday, happy 3-day weekend. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll catch up to you another time.